Hi, hello and welcome everybody to today's video. This time I thought I would do something a little different than I usually do, mostly because I didn't happen to have much time this week. Today we're going to be testing out TikTok art hacks that I found. A bit of a simpler video today, but I still hope you will enjoy. Okay, so the first one is actually the classic pizza trend. So what this one says is to do this sort of color kind of. And then this yellow. I chose this picture because I thought that it could kind of maybe work with this one. But honestly, I'm a little bit skeptical. Yeah, for a good reason. So this one is a no. Don't worry though. I've brought several other ones. Let's try pasting it here and well, would you look at that? I don't think I'm a fan of this one in particular, guys. Let's try this on one of my work in progress pieces. Let's see how it works out for this one. You know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Please do tell me in the comments if I'm doing it somehow wrong. It does say in most of the tutorials to go with these sort of colors and then overlay. But let's try a different overlay type. Ooh, okay, well that's worse. I actually brought this one in particular because I do know a way that does work with my style and I wanted to share it with you guys. This drawing in particular does not have this effect on, but I do have a very fun effect that I like doing. In which case, you usually take either the skin color or something very close to the skin color, and you set your layer mode to pin light, and normally you would clip it. I don't actually need to, because this is already a finished drawing and every layer is merged, of course. But you basically just go like this, which is, I think, what most of these tutorials are trying to achieve, this sort of effect. And you can play around with the colors and the hue and saturation stuff. And this works in a lot of programs because I feel like actually probably all of them have pin light as a layer mode. And then you just kind of lower the opacity and boom! You got a nice ambient effect with the skin reflecting. Basically this is bounce light from the skin, I believe, which is what most of these pizza trend things are trying to achieve. Let's try it on this one as well. It's a little bit of a different hue. Let's see how it works here. You might want to erase from the eyes if it bothers you. I do that sometimes when I use this effect. And wow, look at that. So radiant, so lovely. I actually quite like how it looks here. And would you look at that? It works perfectly! At least for my style. But I feel like this would work very well for other styles as well. So please, feel free to try. I have brought another pizza trend, however, because I've seen another version floating around as well. I'm even more skeptical of this one, but let's try. Somehow, this one feels even worse than the original one, and I don't know how they did that. I'm not sure if you're supposed to go for this awful blue color here. Oh, I'm not supposed to be on overlay. Don't worry about that. You guys didn't see that. And then this sort of great, amazing orange. And then you blur it the same way. And then you also put it on overlay. And I still hate it. Awesome! So, I don't know what the purpose of this is. This kind of feels like a troll. I don't know. I don't understand the purpose of this. This next one is actually very interesting. So this character right here, he has a lot of frills in his design normally anyway. This umbrella in particular actually does have these exact frills that this tutorial has. So let's see how that works out for me. Obviously I'm not going for perfection here, but I will put this on the finished piece, so it's gonna be nice to see how it's kind of gonna look. Honestly, the frills are black for this particular umbrella. So I could just change the line art color on this one and then call it a day, but for the sake of this, we will try out how it looks. When you put this into white. Okay, and then that. Awesome, perfect. And then I believe you just put a border effect on this. My border effect is white by default, so let me change that. And then bam, this is a really useful tool for comics, which I do a lot of comics, so I'm definitely going to use this. And yeah, you can just like color over this Maybe if you want to add some shadows, it's kind of nice. I think I'll definitely use this when I'm drawing comics or the illustrations that this guy, Mason by the way, is his name, appears in, because this seems very useful. I like this one. So this next one is actually quite interesting. So let's say I want to make this drawing look cooler. I am aware that this is not finished, this is still a work in progress. However, let's just say I do. For the sake of this experiment, we're gonna add all of this together already. Merge them all down. So this is how it looks, right? It looks nice. I mean, I've already played a lot with the colors and stuff with this one during the coloring process, but this video actually does bring up a great point. If your drawing program has the ability to play with curves, which I think most of them do except for Paintool Sai, if you don't realize how much curves can change your art, it's not a big downside, but once you do, it's like, oh my god, I've been doing things wrong. So it's a really lovely tool. You basically get to change your entire drawing's vibe with this really easily. Like, I can go for a really... Okay, well, that looks kind of weird. But I'm going for a dark look with a pop of this sort of very bright reddish cherry pink. So if I wanted to achieve that, oh well, that's a bit too dark, but this is kind of the vibe I'm going for, I guess. And it's already so much different. You can also turn off the preview in Clip Studio really easily. So okay, let's say I like how this version looks, even though it's not entirely perfect. Let's just say we love this right now. The next step they said I should do was play with like liquify stuff, and that is also a great tip. I live, laugh, love this one. I keep doing this. I would actually recommend you do this throughout your drawing process. I wouldn't recommend being stuck on one particular idea throughout and then only changing it after, because it can actually look very damaging once you realize you messed up at the end and then you have to change things around so much. Let's say I want to make this more dynamic, because actually that's what I wanted to do with this piece, but it's not giving dynamic right now. So let's just adjust a few things. It's gonna lag a little bit because it's a big drawing. I made this in CinemaScope, so it's a bit it's a bit big. I know it's not way more dynamic just by doing all this. It's because, again, I don't want to kill my computer right in this very moment. Please do forgive me. And I actually like having the original underneath to see how much it has changed. And I do think it's kind of more dynamic. I also quite like the colors more. But it kind of loses that contrast with the top, so I feel like I wouldn't do this necessarily with the tone curves exactly like this in the final product, but it is nice. I quite like this. Also, you can see the rain effect that I didn't delete on the side. Don't worry about that right now. So far this video has been amazing, great, wonderful, live, laugh, love this. But the last tip, I actually do have a bone to pick with, because the tip is to basically add a color. In my case, I feel like it should be some sort of desaturated color because it's not exactly a saturated piece, as you can tell. I like using soft airbrush for this instead of the hard one, because the hard one I feel like is a bit too harsh for this sort of stuff. And then you set this to add. It's just like I get it. For some art styles it works. For this particular illustration, I would not say it does. I mean, I feel like it kind of does something. Like, it looks a little bit like the rain is so... It's so thick that it's fogging up the air, but it's also, like, not giving enough to keep it there, you know? I might do something similar, but this isn't exactly what the original poster wanted to do, because the original poster actually does have a portrait style illustration, so I feel like that would work way better for this sort of stuff instead of this, what I have going on right now. But let's just see, without all this effect stuff, if I did this on this layer, how would that look different? So let's just see. So basically what they did was give it a rim light effect a little bit. And again, this works for some lightning scenarios. I don't think it works perfectly for this. It's giving something. But I feel like if you're gonna use add, might as well use add glow. I'm not a huge fan recently of using too many layer modes. It feels like it makes the colors washed out a little bit. So I'm not the biggest fan, but I don't hate it either. Let me make a real quick sketch for this one. Okay, so basically I changed the character I was drawing like 2 times while I was making this. Also, I started making the back of the head instinctively before I even tried making this. But anyway, putting that aside, let's see. So the quick tip was like, okay, do this, flip the hair. Oh, actually, so obviously we're going to delete the parts that are specifically in the front. But other than that, I mean, it's kinda, honestly, this one's kinda nice. It makes the hair way more consistent. It's, honestly, I like this one. This is easy and nice. 10 out of 10. Okay, so now that we have this sketch, I struggled a little bit with the hair, but don't worry about it. I figured it out at the end. I thought a little bit of a sketchy style would work well with this, so let's see. First of all, I couldn't find the picture, so I had to steal this from the video. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna have to do some extra editing work right here. Now that we have this, let's see. So first of all, we squish this. Right, and then we make it very small. Or maybe not squish it that much. Hold on, hold on. Maybe squish it a little bit like this. And wow, okay. Actually, not so bad, not so bad. I was honestly a little bit skeptical, but it's kind of silly. I quite like this. Wow, I thought it wouldn't work well with my style, but it turns out it actually does. Okay, nice. Testing out these tips and tricks were a lot of fun, even though I might not have sounded like it. It was pretty late at night when I recorded this video, so my voice sounds a little bit different. But I hope you guys have learned something interesting that you might like to try in your future drawings as well. And I also hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time with a Halloween special. But until then, bye bye!